afternoon and welcome to Arab TV. I am Vic Zikoor, your host for this evening. I haven't been doing this show for about a year and a half, a little bit more, right? And now I'm back. I'm back and I'm very excited. And there's a lot of changes that happened in the studio and in the AACC. But I'm not going to go through them right now because we have a very interesting program with a gentleman that is originally from Kurdistan of Iraq. His name is Bak Zuhdi. I've known Bak for over 12 years, and he's been on Arab TV several times. Bak is an engineer, but what makes him very valuable for today's interview is his actual participation with Peshmerga during the resistance against Saddam in Iraq. Bak Zuhdi has been in America for many years, and he's got his own engineering practice. And I would like to say welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we've got an interesting program today to talk about what's going on today in Iraq as far as the Kurdistan and the Iraqis and the war with Daesh. And you know a lot about this, so I want to just get your help to explain to us what's going on. Specifically, I want you to tell me about the accomplishments of the Kurds since 2003, because that's an important question.
Thank you. Well, 2003, as you know, Saddam was removed from power. It was a good opportunity for the whole of Iraq to start fresh and open up a new page for the sake of the people. Unfortunately, that whole political process slowly got derailed by Mr. Maliki. And that resulted in a very much big population of Iraq to be upset with his policies and disappointment. On the other side, where the Kurds were only allowed to practice their freedom in 3 provinces, not all of Kurdistan. In those 3 provinces, those 3 cities, Erbil, Slemani, and Duhok, they made quite a bit of progress. Before Saddam was completely replaced or taken out of power, Kurdistan was devastated in the 80s. Over 4,000 Kurdish villages were destroyed. Over 40 township of 30 to 50,000 population were completely demolished and destroyed, and most of the people were forced to migrate to the big cities and to the south of Iraq. And after 2000, or actually after 91, when the Kurds were protected by the West during the no-fly zone, they were able to create a Kurdish self-rule parliament, and they repaired some of the infrastructure in Kurdistan. Most of the population were not able to return to their village because there was no running water and electricity in those districts outside of the main cities. But since 2003, Kurdish regional government have spent a lot of time rebuilding infrastructure, asking international companies to come and invest in the area, where the most important thing for that to happen was the investment law. They gave investors a good deal of benefit to come to Kurdistan and invest, where the rest of Iraq did not agree to that kind of policy. And one of those companies were the oil sector.
I see.
So the investors who would come to an area that is devastated, lack of infrastructure, lack of security, Kurdistan had the security through the effort of Peshmerga. The structure of Peshmerga was there. They were able to protect those border of those 3 cities. But outside of those cities, we had car bomb until even the day we're talking now.
I see.
But within those three provinces, Peshmerga were able to protect people and protect people and the company's
Okay.
property. So I think in that aspect, Kurdistan have made a good strive toward developing the infrastructure, rebuilding the economy, putting people back, building 10 new universities.
Wow.
And you're talking about probably 60, 70,000 students at high education every year.
Very good.
That's a very good
Very good.
grade. We used to have 3 different elementary schools going to one school a day.
Yeah.
So from morning until noon, noon to
Yeah.
afternoon, and then in the evening all the way to midnight, 3 different schools were attending one building because there was no building.
Okay.
Now every school has their own structure, buildings,
good,
and
very good.
classrooms, and
Okay. So I want to move into something else.
sure.
Now, the new Iraqi structure of
Yes.
the government calls for the president to be Kurdish.
Yes.
Now, we have a Kurdish president,
Mm,
and this is the second president after Jalal al-Talabani.
right.
How can he be a president for all of Iraq when he is Kurdish?
Well, if you live in a country like Iraq, you have to have some feel of belonging. If you do not incorporate all sector of Iraq and society of Iraq in the government of Iraq, people don't feel they belong to. Iraq is made out of Kurd and Arab. Arab from south of Jabal Hamrin to Basra, Kurd from north of Jabal Hamrin to the border
But
with
also
Iran.
there are other minorities, Turks and...
In these two borders, you have other minorities who are the Turk and Assyrian, Chaldean, and some Armenian.
Yazidis.
Yazidi are Kurd,
Okay.
just the religion is
Okay, got
different.
it, yes.
Shabak are Kurd, their
Yes.
religion is different, just like Subi,
Arab.
Mandain, they're Arab, but their religion is different.
Okay,
We have Kake, who are also Kurd, who their religion is different.
okay. Okay, let's move on into something else. The government also, because of this structure,
Mhm.
have certain positions for ministers that are from Kurdistan, right?
Yeah, but
What are they right now?
going back to your question,
Okay,
Lebanon is one of the countries have a mixed population,
Right.
and everybody accepted. The president become from one group, and the vice president become another group. That's the only way you could make the society to live together in peace and
Good.
harmony.
okay.
So in Iraqi ministerial or sensitive positions, with this new government, the foreign minister have given away to
Arab.
Arab. Hushar Zebari is no longer as a minister of foreign affairs.
Yeah.
They're talking about the finance minister, and they're talking about giving it to Dr. Roj Nouri Shawis, which
Okay.
I know him personally. Dr. Roj was the son of Nouri Shawis, who was the minister of housing and public road and bridge in Baghdad from the 60s and on. So Roj was a deputy prime minister during Maliki. So if he become a minister of finance, it will solve some of the problem hanging between the central government and the Kurd. Now, what is the problem? The problem is because of the oil industry booming in Kurdistan and oil companies are present in Kurdistan, central government feels like these are out of their authorities. Oil law in Kurdistan allow Kurd to go and sign contract with foreign companies, but the oil revenue should go back to the central revenue for the whole of Iraq.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the understanding of Maliki in the last 8 years, because of him and his oil minister, was different. that they wanted full authority of central government over the regional authority, which is something shouldn't be, and the Iraqi constitution does not agree with that. The constitution was discussed and was evaluated by these foreign companies before they came and signed contract with Kurdish government.
I see, to make sure it is okay.
Oh yeah, and mistakenly Iraqi government held sending salary of the government, which is 17% for the last 8 months. So every time I call home, my sister still lives there and she's retired. They say, no, we haven't been paid because the government doesn't send us the money from Baghdad. So you're trying to starve the people of Iraq, which I'm talking about Kurdish people,
Yeah.
it's a major mistake. No one have done this in Iraq.
Wow.
Even Saddam, when he tried to commit genocidal war against the Kurdish people, he never stopped paying the government employee to run the people's affair. That never happened in any era.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to change during the new government with Malik is gone now?
I just heard Rudaw.news or Rudaw TV just before I came to your studio that the new Prime Minister, Abadi, made an effort to send the money, provided that the Kurd will accept sending the oil through the oil company that assigned by Iraqi government. And the Kurd, for 3 months, accepted his offer to try to see if the government is on honest footage with the Kurd. So from here on till 3 months, Kurd will sell oil through the corporation that Iraqi government has. This is a fresh news.
Okay.
So that they want to see where Iraq is going to send that salary for 8 months of the people who have not been paid.
So that sounds good. And then I think, with the new government, do you think that Abadi will be able to unite Iraq? And from what you've seen so far?
Iraq is united. The only issue that is not united, Abadi government should incorporate the people of Iraq in his power sharing. He cannot deny the Sunni and the Kurd with what the Iraq should be about. It should be equal share versus population ratio. Who gets what? I mean, the census should be taken. The census in Iraq, no one knows. Somebody says 22 million, somebody says 32 million. I cannot believe we live in the 21st century and we still don't have a census in Iraq. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. Okay, let's now switch into something which is more current right now. Talking about the military situation. Let's kind of without going into the details of it, but let's start with America. We know Mr. Obama spoke about supporting the Iraqis with air raids and with military equipment on the ground and with some basically experts, I guess, or advisors. So is the military help coming also to Kurdistan?
This is almost like you were in a car wreck and you try to put the pieces back to see how the car got into a car wreck. Every piece has been shattered all over the street when the accident happened. That's what's happening to Kurd, to Iraq, to the whole thing. Why Daesh is in Iraq? They're supposed to be fighting Bashar al-Assad, the resistance in Syria. Assad is not a democratic guy, but the West, Qatar and Saudi and those countries, and Turkey particularly, were supposed to keep the assistance to the right people to overthrow Bashar al-Assad. But here we have a monster on our hand called Daesh. They want to create a Khalifa rule in Syria and Iraq. Unfortunately, the U.S. Took a big nap on this for many, many months, doing nothing, watching this development to be created by others than the U.S. themselves. The U.S. had a hand in creating the condition, but it was not a wanted condition what happened. This radical group took over because the other group were not strong enough and organized enough. So here we have a group of old Ba'as, Islamic group, and radical Sunni who are not happy with Assad or with Maliki, grouped together, trained most of those people inside Turkey in Ras Al Ain, what do you call it, Sarikani, which is Kurdistan of Syria and Turkey. That's the border. And then every one of them who have been hosted by Turkey, Turkish bases have been trained and sent to Syria. Now they're turning over against us and against the Iraqi people and Iraqi population. So we have a huge problem on our hand with Daesh taking over Mosul. Iraqi military just melted away by just hearing Allahu Akbar from these people, which they don't believe in Allahu Akbar. But once they announce Allahu Akbar, the Iraqi soldiers just drop their guns and ask for a civilian uniform and just get the heck out of the place. Over 60, 70,000 Iraqi soldiers just ran away from Mosul area. And Daesh took control of all these heavy equipment. They had all the training for the last 2 years in Turkey, how to use American weapons. So all of a sudden they became a superpower in a place that nobody has any control except them.
Why would so many thousand soldiers quit? I mean, does that has to do with they're scared of Daesh, or it has to do with the leadership?
The leadership. Maliki took control of defense minister and interior minister. He was in charge, not the ministers. We didn't have many ministers for the last few years in Iraq. He was in charge.
Okay.
He appointed 26, what do you call, Amir Liwa? Generals, the 4-star generals for each division with one, without going back to the Iraqi parliament. This is one of the violations of the constitution. So none of those people were putting up any fight. The minute they saw Daesh coming, they ran away.
Is that because they're cooperating with Daesh, or is it because they're scared of Daesh?
We don't know how did they do it, but some of them, in fact, I read something not too long ago about an interview with Bak Zuhdi, which somebody I know because we graduated together in the same class of 69 in Basra. Mm-hmm. Bakr is a very honest person. I don't know if everybody likes him, but I like the person. He interviewed the guy who was in charge of the army over there. The week before that military man have accepted the salary of so many thousand from the finance minister. Yeah. You heard it too.
Yeah.
And here there was no soldier in those names by those people. So who took the money? Obviously, corruption. Corruption was the basis for the failure of Iraqi military.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a subject to go into deeper details.
You could go to the hour and hour to discuss that. But the first week was a disaster for everybody. Kurds were not prepared to face this whole huge of army coming to Sinjar and Zambar and those. They fought as much as they could, but there was no way they could beat back those tanks. It was all military hardware from United States, and Peshmerga had AK-47 and light defense. But then the second week and third week, and to this day, they're pushing Daesh back, and every day they're killing Daesh when they come across.
Yeah, the air strikes, I think, support
Really, the
and help.
airstrike it's okay, but it's not that effective yet.
Mm.
150 strike, what is 150 strike over almost a month and a half? They go once a day, they see a pickup truck. This is not the way it's supposed to. I mean, pickup truck a day or two pickup truck a day. Where are all the other weapons? Well, how come they haven't found a tank to destroy? The tanks are there, the artilleries are there. They're hiding it, and unless you really look hard with drone and spy planes to locate
About
them.
ground forces?
Pardon me?
Ground forces, I mean, they're not fighting alongside the Iraqis?
Along Kurdish line, they're about 600 kilometer distance from Zakho, from the border of Syria, all the way to Khanaqin. Peshmerga are fighting back with those people. On the south side, Iraqi army haven't penetrated any place. Much. They tried to go to Tikrit, they pushed back. Tikrit is still with Daesh. Fallujah is still with Daesh.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
How about Ramadi?
Ramadi is still with Daesh. They came and Peshmerga helped them to get to Amiral. It's near Jalola. Now they are in Jalola with Iraqi army and Peshmerga. But the cooperation is really not organized well. I hope United States, when they go there and they create this committee of organizing this war against Daesh, coordinate the effort between Peshmerga and the Iraqi from the